On Money Matters, Sherry Rothering is going to be talking with us about check fraud. It's a concern that I think a lot of people have. And Sherry, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So, can you explain just really briefly what is a fraudulent check?
Fraudulent check could be a check that has a forged signature, something where the amounts have been altered on the check, something where the endorsement on the back has been stolen, or it could be a completely created counterfeit check that they've used some of your information for.
Now, as I recall, it used to be you would have to present a check a number of different times before it was considered to be insufficient or fraudulent. Is that still the case?
That is still the case. However, with the advent of electronic conversion, it is now 3 times. It was 2 times prior. Now they can be presented 3 times. They can be presented in the paper form first, and then twice electronically, or the paper form twice and once electronically.
So what can I do if I am the recipient of a bad check, a fraudulent check or an insufficient funds check?
We would have to charge that bank back to the account that check back to the account it was deposited into, and it would be mailed to you. At that point, you would have the chance of, my first suggestion would be contacting the bank it's drawn on to see if it will clear, if you can bring it there and get cash or a cashier's check for it. If you're comfortable and they say go ahead and represent it, then you can just redeposit it, and because it could have just been a mistake. But I would just call the bank it's drawn on, would be my first and strongest suggestion.
Do we have any options after we receive the check as far as making sure we can still get our money?
On a fraudulent check, probably not, unless you do a small claims court, or depending on how big the check is. If the person that forged it is arrested, and you can get restitution that way. On a strictly NSF check, you can get the cash. You can go and get a cashier's check at the bank it was drawn on if the funds are there, or else you'd have to go back against the person that wrote it to you.
Is there anything we can do to protect ourselves in the future from being a victim of a fraudulent check?
Well, basically, know who you're receiving your check from. And just to prevent that, I would get a cashier's check. A wire transfer is probably the most safe, secure way to receive money from somebody if you're selling something. But you're always welcome to come to the bank. We can look things up. If you're concerned about a check, we can check it out for you and see what we can find out. Or you can go to the bank it was drawn on.
Well, Sherry, thank you so much for sharing this valuable information with us.
Thanks for having me.